Hello everyone and welcome to your next chapter. We're going to start getting into some specifics now, different genres of wildlife photography and how to approach certain destinations and the scenes and species you might find there. So this is wildlife photography. Enjoy. The first thing we need to understand about wildlife photography is that there really is no limits to how we approach it. There's so many different ways we can shoot wildlife. We can go wide, close, super close. We can use motion blur, pan blurring. There's so many different ways to photograph wildlife. And we can't really prep you in terms of what to take with. It's all destination specific. What you might take to shoot gorillas might be different to what you take to shoot in the Masai Mara or the Serengeti. But there's a few items that I think are quite essential or very useful to bring along no matter what destination or what animal or what set of animals you might be photographing. And as is listed in the diagram above, these toys and tools I take with me, no matter what animal I'm photographing, have always been a massive help. And the first is cotton swabs. These are really good for the stubborn marks you'll find on your camera or on your lens that a lens cloth itself won't get rid of. The alcohol breaks up those marks and makes them much easier to wipe away. Be careful with alcohol swabs. Sometimes people have used them on their laptop, and unfortunately the alcohol is so harsh that it can remove the non-reflective layer that's on your laptop screen. So only use it for your lens or your camera, and use it very gently, and only use it if the mark is too stubborn to get rid of with a lens pen or a lens cloth. And then I always take a tripod with me, even if I'm photographing gorillas. A tripod's not really useful to take into the forest with you, although some photographers do take it. But you never know, no matter what trip you go on, where you come across a beautiful landscape image, or if the stars align literally and figuratively, and you get a magical chance to capture the night skies. So I always take a travel tripod with me no matter where I go, and quite often it comes in use. And then I take a lens pen and a lens cloth. These are the basics. No matter where you go, there's a high chance you're going to get dirt and muck on your camera lens or camera body. The lens pen and lens cloth can literally fold into your pocket and are so useful for removing dirt from your equipment. The pen itself is a very useful tool. One end has a little brush on it for spots of oil or sunscreen that might get onto your lens. You can remove it with that. Or if there's sand on your lens, remember, if there's dust or granules of sand on your lens, if you use the lens cloth, you can actually push those granules across your lens, which can scratch it. So the lens pen has a brush on one side where you can brush the lens and remove any grains of sand that might be there before using your lens cloth. Another thing I bring along is a really good camera bag, something that's preferably waterproof. You never know when it's going to rain. Something that holds your camera and separates all the elements so they don't bounce around and damage each other. Two other very useful tools that I bring along with me is a rain or dust cover or a shower cap. Now you might laugh about the shower cap, but it is such a useful tool. It folds up into your pocket. If you want to put your camera down on the dirt and move around, or maybe use another camera, instead of putting it in the dust, you put it in a shower cap and put it on the ground, and it keeps it covered. And a rain and dust cover does the same thing. It keeps the elements off your camera. I once witnessed a scene in Martin Pools of wild dogs and an eland fighting from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. A scene I'll never see again in my life. Because I didn't have a dust cover, eventually my camera equipment malfunctioned, and I only really photographed about a third of that scene, and I was mortified. A dust cover or rain cover, often they're the same thing, would have greatly helped me in that situation. And while we're talking about dust, one thing I don't go anywhere with is a blower. It's a handheld device that you can squish, and it has two main purposes. The first is to remove dust from your camera, from all the hard to reach places, and your lens itself, to blow away dust without the risk of scratching any elements. The second thing is photography can get really stressful, and it actually feels really good squeezing that thing. So if you're sitting in a Jeep waiting for wildebeest to cross the river and you're getting too stressed, just give that thing a few squeezes and you'll be fine. Another thing that you should never go without, especially if you're traveling far distances or spending a lot of money on your photographic tour, is to take spare batteries. These days, with the technology that's being squeezed into cameras, they often chew up battery. So get 2 or 3 spare batteries. You won't regret it, and there's nothing worse than running out of battery and there's still a lot to photograph. Lastly, I like to bring a catapult or a weapon of some sort, because chances are in wildlife photography, you're going to come across unethical photographers, and it's nice to hurl something at them every now and again. So that's the checklist that I like to take with me. In terms of camera equipment and lenses, it's really difficult to suggest what to take because every destination is so different. But one thing I can say, if you're getting into photography now and you don't have a 70 to 200mm, then you're doing yourself a disfavor. That is the most versatile lens, and even in the Serengeti, where a lot of people say it's too short, it doesn't have enough reach, my favorite photographs from these regions were all taken on a 70 to 200. you can use it for gorillas, you can use it for lions, elephant, you can use it for the bears of Canada, you can use it for the lions of the Serengeti, the leopards of the Sabi Sands, and you can use it for human portraiture. It is the most versatile and most important lens any photographer can carry. If you don't have one of those, it's the only thing that you're missing. So get one. So we're about to dive into wildlife photography, more species specific, and we're going to look at species specific approaches. Great apes, lions, big animals, the big herbivores, rhinos, elephants, and how best to approach these scenes, and a few guidelines you can take with you when you meet these animals in the wild. Enjoy. See you next time.